Here's what's coming up on your horizon. Well, as we mark Memorial Day this year, we explore a trend that at first glance may seem troubling, but when you look deeper, it's actually the outcropping of some of our own successes. And that's the number of American veterans facing life with missing limbs. We begin with the inspiring story of Noah Galloway, a double amputee who hasn't let his injuries keep him from his TV fame. We'll visit a classroom that's training prosthetics technicians. We'll tell you why top golfers are in the Sooner State for the Patriot Cup. And we look at some new developments surrounding one of our nation's most iconic photographs. Stay with us for Oklahoma Horizon.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by Career Tech, a job for every Oklahoman and a workforce for every company. With additional support from the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. I'm Rob McClendon. Well, of the 60,000 American troops wounded in action in Iraq and Afghanistan, right at 2.5% have suffered the loss of a limb. That's a higher percentage than any other war and the direct result of three things. The first is the growth in the use of roadside bombs called IEDs. When they explode under a lightly armored vehicle, the results, well, they're devastating. But of those injured, a much higher percentage now survive than in past wars thanks to the increased use of body armor and new blood clotting technology. And while these veterans are now surviving their injuries at a much higher rate, they still face a lifetime of challenges. And no one knows that more than Noah Galloway, the Army veteran who's become a reality television star despite a life-changing injury. And we caught up with him as he was speaking with a group at Moore Norman Technology Center. When the Twin Towers came tumbling down, it was an easy decision to join the Army for Noah Galloway.
And I watched as that second plane hit, and the screams and the cries.
But with service often comes sacrifice, and Sergeant Galloway's life was soon to change.
And in 2005, you would drive your Humvees with the headlights off. Night vision goggles on. With night vision goggles, you can see well, but you can't see everything. One thing I didn't see that night was a tripwire stretched across the road.
Just 3 months into his second tour of duty, Galloway lost his left arm above the elbow and his left leg above the knee.
You know, it was such an emotional up and down roller coaster when I got injured and I woke up in the hospital. And, you know, there were moments where I was like, you know what, this is fine. I'm missing an arm and a leg. I'll be okay. I'll be fine. I'll make something of it. Then there are other moments, I was very emotional and thought, what am I going to do? And then those moments where I was like, this will be fine, I went through a lot of denial in that part of my depression. And it took me a couple of years to think, you know what, I don't know what I can do, but I'm not going to know until I start pushing myself.
Like a lot of our injured veterans, there are injuries that we don't see.
Yes, you know, my obvious injuries were my arm and my leg, but there was so much that was going on emotionally and mentally. And I see that in the guys I served with, you know, that have all their limbs. In fact, I feel worse for them because people don't see that they're even injured, may not even know they're a veteran. And they're going through all these struggles. They have all these dark moments. And, you know, when I talk to veterans, or I'm talking to another, you know, serviceman or woman that has been through that, I remind them that if you're going through it, or, you know, if you serve with people, connect with them. Because you may not know they're going through something, but you have to connect. You have to connect because that'll come out.
Something Galloway knows firsthand. The former fitness fanatic and hyper-competitive athlete was now drinking, smoking, and sleeping his days away. But late one night, Galloway took a long look in the mirror and realized there was more to him than the injuries.
That depression I went through was so hard to come out of. There were a couple of things that happened. You know, I had a lot of family, friends, organizations that were there for me. But then also, more importantly, it was my kids, and realizing I needed to be a better father. And that motivated me enough to get into a gym, start exercising, eating healthy, and just start that slow progression to being healthy again. And just having that goal of getting back into shape was enough to distract me and pull me through that depression.
Scramble, do anything you gotta do.
And Galloway began a fitness journey, pushing himself into extreme competitions around the country, reshaping his broken body into tip-top shape. And a full decade after his devastating injuries, named by the nation's top fitness magazine as the ultimate men's health guy.
When I look in the mirror, I'm proud. We all, especially when you're in fitness, you become very picky, you're a perfectionist. So yeah, sometimes I'm not that happy. I'm like, okay, I need to work on this. Oh, my diet's kind of catching up to me, so now I need to adjust. But more or less, the fact that I'm injured and where I've come from, it's been 10 years since I've been injured. What I see is that I'm powerful and I'm strong even without my left arm and left leg. And the reaction I get from people, the first couple years of injury, people would talk to me and they felt sorry for me. I don't get that anymore. Even before all this attention came, people would see me, yeah, I'm missing an arm and a leg, but they see that I'm probably in better shape than they are. And the reaction I got from people was, wow, this is incredible, and that was all because my demeanor changed, my outlook, and my appearance.
But with every accomplishment comes the next challenge. And this time, it wasn't inside a gym, but on a dance floor, on national TV.
It was terrifying because aside from me missing an arm and a leg, I don't know how to dance. So here I am about to dance live on national television, but then once we got out there, Sharna Burgess, my dance partner, had taught me so well that when we did our first dance, it didn't feel too bad. And then once we did that dance, week 2 was better, 3 was improvement. So then each week it just got better and better and more comfortable. And I owe that all to Sharna Burgess and what she was able to do and work with me. She's an artist, and I was the canvas that she was creating.
And you danced to a Spotlight song by Oklahoma's Toby Keith?
Yep, Toby Keith's American Soldier.
I don't do it for the money, there's bills that I can't pay. I don't do it for the glory, I just do it anyway. And I will always do my duty, no matter what the price.
That was a pivotal moment for me, and that was week 5, halfway through the competition, and I wasn't sure how long we were going to last. I was kind of losing motivation, but the reaction from people changed everything because of that one dance, that one song. And then every dance on Dance with the Stars, each individual dance is put on YouTube, and this was season 20, and all those dances that have been on YouTube, that dance in 1 week had the most views of any dance in the history of Dancing with the Stars, had 41 million views. And it was shared by General Odinero. He shared it on his Facebook page. Vice President Biden's wife tweeted it. There was all these different people of different levels that were sharing this dance.
Galloway and his dance partner finished 3rd in the competition, and he is now a nationally sought-after speaker with a message of, you can choose to be bitter, or you can choose to be better.
You gotta find what it is in life that motivates you, that pushes you, that you are drawn to.
Something Galloway hopes we can all learn from.
In the past, we've seen too many movies or TV shows that put veterans in a bad light. You may think, oh, a Vietnam veteran, this is a guy who lives out in a trailer in the middle of nowhere and stays drunk and does a lot of drugs. Well, there might be that veteran out there that we need to reach out to and get help for. But you know how many successful CEOs had served in Vietnam? We are a group, we are the small population that we're willing to sacrifice life and limb for this country. We've been pushed and trained in leadership. We are willing to go above and beyond. We are the ones that will do whatever it takes to protect our fellow American. And that man or woman out there that has served in uniform is somebody that these companies need to realize are the biggest asset they could ever have. And we need to get past the stigmatism of what a veteran is, that they're broken, because we are very much powerful, strong, and willing to work.
Noah, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Now Noah's TV stardom continues to shine. He's one of 4 coaches on the reality TV show American Grit, where they push their teams through military-style competitions. And so far, in Season 1, Galloway's team is beating them all. Now, when we return, we meet some of the people who help amputees get back on their prosthetic feet.
You're watching Oklahoma Horizon with Rob McClendon. Weekly insight into your changing world.
Well, there was a time when the loss of a limb meant a lifetime of disability. But thanks to improvements in technology, much of it from work here in Oklahoma, those with missing limbs have much better options. Joining me now is our Courtney Mack.
There are nearly 2 million people living with limb loss in the United States. The main causes being from vascular disease from something like diabetes or trauma from an accident. But no matter the cause, life after an amputation improves greatly with a well-fitting prosthetic. The orthotics industry has revolutionized the medical profession, and Oklahoma ranks among the top 5 states when it comes to mastering the art of artificial limbs.
The robotic human is often known as fiction, but here at Francis Tuttle Technology Center, it's reality.
I came to America in order to have more knowledge about the technical field.
Vincenzo Demarinis is an Italian student in Francis Tuttle's orthotics program and says working in orthotics is inspirational both for his patients and for him.
I like seeing people happy when I give them a prosthesis. You know, you see people without legs and you make them run again, and it's kind of, you know, you feel good.
Vincenzo searched for a program across the United States and decided Oklahoma was the place for him.
I was looking for a lot of programs around America, and there was one of the cheaper program, and it gave me the possibility to enter with my English proficiency. And I had to choose, and I decided to come to Oklahoma.
And instructor Joe Young says Vincenzo is an asset as a student.
He's been a very dedicated student. He works very hard. He really participates in class, and he's always on task, always working to improve his art as a technician and also a practitioner.
It's an art that's helping Vincenzo shape his future.
I'm on the prosthetics program, and I did pretty much all the prostheses you can build. I'm building right now above knee prosthesis, and pretty much everything.
And Young says America is where Vincenzo gains the most experience.
He came here because he felt he didn't get the hands-on knowledge that he needed to actually fit his patients well in Italy. So he came to America and to Francis Tuttle to get some knowledge about how to fabricate and build devices and the actual application of the art that we do.
And Vincenzo says America supplies him with the skills needed for his career.
Being in America is a big opportunity for me to go back and have a big opportunity in job.
Bringing happiness to others is Vincenzo's goal, and Francis Tuttle is helping him do just that.
He's a really great guy. I think he means well. He wants to help people. I think that's the main reason he's over here, to make sure he can provide quality patient care.
Building a future, both for his life and the lives of his patients.
Now the demand for technicians like Vincenzo Demarinis is growing globally. Worldwide, 1 million people have been killed and maimed by anti-personnel mines, and many of these accidents from long-forgotten mines planted in the developing world. Each year, about 26,000 people fall victims to landmines. And Rob, that translates into about 70 people per day, or 1 person every 15 minutes.
Some grim statistics, but certainly a well-needed program. Thank you so much, Court.
You're welcome, Rob.
Still to come on Oklahoma Horizon. Seeing through the fog of war 7 decades later. But first, the folds of honor.
Well, it's not just veterans who are impacted by wartime. Families of veterans are also often called on to make tremendous sacrifices. That's why this Memorial Day weekend, top golfers from around the nation came to Oklahoma to take part in what's called the Patriot Cup. Pro golfers paired with celebrities and military personnel playing not for prize money, but to raise scholarships and other assistance to give back to the spouses and children of soldiers killed or disabled in service to our country. The event is the brainchild of former F-16 fighter pilot and PGA golf professional Major Dan Rooney, who is the founder of the Folds of Honor Foundation and the creator of Patriot Golf Day.
And it is all up to us to honor their sacrifice, to inspire, but more importantly, empower these families with an opportunity of an education.
And since its founding in 2007, the Patriot Golf Day has grown to include over 3,000 courses around the U.S., as well as a Patriot Bowling Day and Patriot Marina Days on July 4th, all to raise scholarship money for families of veterans like Oklahoma's John Jones.
My name is Amber Jones. I am a current student at Colorado State University, and I am a recipient of a Folds of Honor scholarship. This is my first semester back after 8 years, and my concentration for school is global tourism.
My name is John Jones. I lived and grew up in Oklahoma. After I graduated out of Edmond Memorial High School, I decided to go into the Marine Corps. I was stationed in Al-Qaim, Iraq. It's in the Al Anbar province, right where the Euphrates River meets up to Syria. Wild, Wild West, that's what we called it. Primarily, we were doing hard hits. We were looking for HVTs, high value targets in the area. I think it was 9:20, 9:15, 9:20 in the morning, 20 minutes after I left the wire, got hit with a double stack anti-tank mine. I went through the roof of my thin skin Humvee and then went 25 feet in the air and landed behind my Humvee. And got medevac back to Al-Qaim. And then from there I went to Balad. And then from Balad, Longstuhl, Germany, Longstuhl to Bethesda. So I underwent surgeries in Al-Qaim, Longstuhl, and Bethesda. It was every 24 hours, pretty much.
After he had his initial 32 surgeries, the result eventually was losing both legs below the knee. We decided to leave Maryland and head down to Texas, which was closer to my 2 stepchildren. We got married 2 days prior to heading down to Texas in the hospital with a bunch of nurses and doctors. I became a stepmom at that point, and of course a wife to a disabled veteran. And that's where I took the back step. I was the last on the priority list of what needed to be done and taken care of. And all of a sudden, school and working and all of those things that I had a lot of drive for and ambition and whatnot just didn't matter as much anymore. It was about making sure John got his life back together and he was able to start walking again. Every single morning I wake up to a husband without his legs. He has to get in his chair, he has to get in the shower, he has to use the restroom sitting, he has to do these things that he will have to do forever.
She kicked me in the ass whenever I needed it and got me to where I needed to be and made me go to physical therapy.
My son was born missing his right foot due to amniotic band syndrome, which is just a fluke thing that can happen to any woman. We found that out at 5 months pregnant and knew that we soon were going to have a son that too would need prosthetics and would face all the different challenges that John had. I mean, we had all the odds against us, let's just say that. And so as long as we kept open communication, which was not easy, especially for a Marine, you've got to really teach them how to talk about their feelings.
For the first 5 years, she sacrificed a ton of letting me figure out where I was going to be, figure out what I'm going to do for a career, and pushing me to go. Having like an organization like Folds of Honor just come in and be able to, give this money to spouses that, I think they sacrifice more than we do. Because, yeah, we go out and we fight the war, but they're back here every single day doing the bills, taking care of the kids, holding down this fort, which is probably more chaotic in more times than what we were through. She had the harder job.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about the Folds of Honor Foundation, we do have links to other stories as well as more information on how you can get involved to help the families of those who serve. Just go to okhorizon.com.
Horizon is at your fingertips. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to catch the segments you may have missed and our latest new content as it happens.
Well, the raising of the flag on Iwo Jima is certainly one of the most iconic images in American history, but also one that's seen its fair share of controversy. The act of those fearless American soldiers scaling that mountain has been immortalized, but the question remains, just who were those soldiers holding up Old Glory? Blaine Singletary gives us a look at the legacy and the scrutiny.
It was a major act of patriotism that took place over 7 decades ago, and it was all caught on camera.
You get it? I don't know. Wish I could have seen your faces.
The raising of the flag on Mount Suribachi on the island of Iwo Jima was a symbol of victory after a long, bloody battle. It single-handedly reinvigorated a war-weary America the moment it hit the press.
The right picture can win or lose a war.
You're going to want to see this.
One of the men who survived Iwo Jima and was part of the flag raising that day was Navy Corpsman John Bradley. His son, James, went on to tell the story of those fearless few in his book Flags of Our Fathers, that was later adapted to the silver screen. We sat down with James last year on the 70th anniversary of that fateful day.
I'm one of the few who doesn't speculate why the photo is so beloved by Americans, but I know that the second it appeared, I mean, it was front page newspapers all across the country. The public went nuts. There were tens of thousands of requests for reprints of the photos. It's the most reproduced photo in history.
But recently, the photos have returned to the headlines as an age-old question resurfaced. Just who were these soldiers? Associated Press photographer Joe Rosenthal didn't have a chance to get their names, as it was an active battlefield. Bradley's father was long believed to be one of the handful of soldiers in the photo, but now that's being called into question. What we do know is that Bradley was part of the first flag raising that day. Another, larger flag was ordered to be put in its place about 2 hours later, which is when the photo was taken.
Nobody even noticed that second flag going up. Everybody saw that damn picture and made up their own story about it. But your dad and the others knew what they had done and what they had not done.
But in 2014, 2 amateur historians noticed something a little off. By comparing other photos of Bradley from that day in 1945, they came to the conclusion that it wasn't him, and instead 5th Division Marine Harold Schultz. Part of the reason questions still remain to this day is the fact that this moment was just one part of an otherwise chaotic battle.
These were just kids, and they were just in from a horrible battle and suffering from various levels of PTSD.
And after muddling through the fog of war, they weren't even sure who was to their right or left at that moment. Moreover, some soldiers, like Ira Hayes, didn't want to be recognized.
It just was not part of his existence. In the family house, in the cottage, and in my dad's business, there were no flag-raising photos anywhere. If my dad had walked into one of our dorms at college and seen a flag-raising photo, he probably would have walked out.
Bradley says that meant getting information out of his father to write the book was a challenge, and most of it didn't go to paper until after he passed away in 1994.
What I found is the closer you're to a massacre, your friends screaming to death, guys dying all around you, the more you're not going to talk about it. You don't want to braze those devils in your dreams. You want to get over it, you want to get rid of it, and you don't want to cry in front of your kids.
Bradley was initially skeptical about the new claims, but since reviewing the evidence, he has stated in an interview with CBS News that he has his doubts as to whether his father was part of the second, more widely seen flag raising. But at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not those soldiers were on top Mount Suribachi or somewhere else on the island of Iwo Jima, they were all heroes, many of whom gave the ultimate sacrifice.
He saw the heroes of Iwo Jima as the guys who didn't come back. So to be called a hero for doing something that was not particularly heroic didn't make a lot of sense to him.
It's all a part of the present-day battle Bradley and other historians, both amateur and professional, face to keep history alive.
Now, the U.S. Marine Corps has launched an official inquiry into the Iwo Jima flag raising and is expected to rule on the matter later this year. Well, it's that time of year. Wheat harvest is becoming a common sight in farmers' fields around the country. Next time on Oklahoma Horizon, we meet the Oklahoman who helps ensure there is a bountiful harvest. On Oklahoma Show for the Heartland, Oklahoma Horizon. Well, thanks for including us as part of your day. I'm Rob McClendon. I hope to see you back here next week.